When I was in high school, I was a pretty lanky guy. I was probably about 150 pounds, was probably about 6 foot, so I was kind of a string bean. And I wanted to get bigger. I wanted to change. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted, you know, other guys to look at me and be like, "Oh wow, that's a big guy." And I wanted women to look at me and obviously be more attracted to me than I was in my current state when I was in high school. So I did what any sensible person would do, and I started to lift weights. It started with, dumbbells in my basement or in my parents' basement, and I turned eventually into me having like a little home gym down there. And then once I started working at a gym, I was able to use that free membership, and it just kind of took a life of its own from there. And in that journey of me, going from 150 pounds to about 200 pounds, and I'd say I'm fairly lean. I'm not the leanest guy, but, reasonably lean. I discovered a supplement called creatine, and I did some research about it, and I wanted to know what it was about because, some people were talking about it, and it seemed, like it might be worth my time. So you might be watching this video because you're thinking about starting creatine, and you might be like me. You might be a guy in high school who wants to get bigger, who wants to get stronger, or you might be someone who's older, in their 20s or mid to late 20s, or even older than that, like I am right now. So just to start off, I obviously want to preface the video by kind of going over what creatine is. So it's a supplement that you can take that will bring water, it'll saturate your muscles, the cells inside of your muscles with water. Now, what does that do? That gives you more energy while you're actually training. So when you're doing intense lifts, or even, with some cardio stuff, like if you're doing sprints and things like that, that's like really high effort but really short duration. It will give you more energy, and it will allow you to push yourself a little further and give you a little bit more ground to kind of go the next mile with it. It is by far the safest and most researched supplement, fitness supplement that you can take. So if you have any like second thoughts about it, like I don't know, like I've heard, it can damage your liver, or it can damage your kidneys, or whatever kind of myths that people are telling you. I'm telling you, I've been taking it for probably about 8 years now. Pretty much ongoing, like without any kind of break or like long, without any kind of like long time that I've been without it. Maybe the most I've gone without it is like a week or two, but then I cycled back onto it, and I haven't had any negative side effects. Nothing has raised any kind of concerns. So if you're, if you're not a pregnant female, then I would suggest you just take it. But there are things that I wish that I knew before I started taking it. Now, if you take creatine in the wrong way, or you do it, you're taking less than you should be or anything, it's not gonna like adversely or be harmful to you. But what I'm hoping to do with this video is give you guys the knowledge that you need to, once you decide that you are going to start taking creatine, you are able to do it as effectively as possible right off the bat, not waste any time, and not have to do like any other research on it. Essentially, this is just like a one video where you can just come to it and you can just, leave everything else be, and you can just listen to what I have to say. So the first thing that I want to go over with creatine is creatine monohydrate is the best version of creatine. So there's a lot of different versions out there that different people are trying to market. Creatine monohydrate is by far the most studied and the most reliable. So don't waste your time going to any other brands, or no matter how like good their advertising is, don't listen to it. Just do creatine monohydrate unless there's like significant studies backing whatever type of creatine that you're about to start taking. Just go with creatine monohydrate. I use the Optimum Nutrition kind. I'm not sponsored by Optimum Nutrition as much as I wish I was, but that's just one example of a brand that you could take. Don't cycle off of creatine is the second point. So, and I was curious about this for a while until I actually looked into it. You don't actually have to cycle on and off of creatine. So you can take it once you're settled into it. So there's like a loading phase to it where the normal amount of creatine that you want to take is 5 grams a day. Now, when you start taking creatine, you can kind of do what's called a loading phase where you take 20 grams a day, and it just saturates the muscles faster, and it just gets you to that point where you can just take it continuously faster. You can do a loading phase, or you might just opt to just take 5 grams a day from the start. If you do take 5 grams a day from the start without a loading phase, it'll just take you longer to get to the level of saturation that you would with the loading phase. But either way you want to do it's totally fine. But once you are actually at that point where your muscles are saturated with creatine, you can just indefinitely take it without, cycling off of it. You can pretty much take it forever. And that kind of segues into my next point of what I have to say is to not stop even when you're doing a rest day or a deload week. Even when you're in a kind of low effort week where you're just recovering, or whether it's you took some time off from the gym, you're gonna not be in the gym for a week, or let's say you worked out 6 days that week and you're gonna take one rest day during the week, take creatine on those days. It just keeps the muscles saturated. You don't have to worry about going off of it on a day and then going on it another day. It just keeps it more consistent, and it's just good overall, because if you just make a habit of taking it every day, then just stick to that habit. More creatine isn't better. So, and this is something I looked into just recently, because I'd always been taking 5 grams a day. And I didn't know if that had any variance with advanced lifters, with people that were heavier. So when I started taking creatine, I was probably around 160, 170 pounds. I'm now about 190 to 200. So no matter really what weight you are or how advanced of a lifter you are, you just take 5 grams a day. If you want to go a little bit above that, it's not going to hurt you. If you take 7 grams a day, or even with the loading phases when people are taking 20 grams a day, you're just gonna, your body has ways of getting rid of the excess without it becoming like a poison in you. So if you take more, it's not bad, but I would just stick to the 5 to 7, because if you take a lot more creatine than you should, you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna go through the supplement faster, you're gonna be buying it again quicker, for pretty much no benefit at all. So just stick to the 5 grams a day unless you're doing a loading phase. Then you can do 20 for about a week. And, like I said before, you don't have to creatine load. So you don't have to do the 20 grams a week, or you don't have to do the 20 grams a day for the week. But it'll just take you longer to get to that saturation, that indefinite saturation point where you can just take it 5 grams a day forever. And like I said before, don't listen to people about, it's going to damage your kidneys or damage your heart, or you're going to go bald and lose all your hair. Just take it. There's no actual scientific evidence that's actually backed that creatine is, going to do any of those things to you. So I hope this video helps, and I hope that you decide to take the leap and start trying creatine, see if it works for you. If you want to be trained by me personally and change your life forever, get the body that you want, I can show you the way that I did it myself through my training. It's on my website. I'm going to put it in the description below. You have it in you to be great. Goodbye.